Hello, everyone. Quick little PSA. I will be in Chattanooga, Tennessee, December 15th and 16th for the Indoor Climbing Expo. Use the code Mario20 at indoorclimbingexpo.com to get your tickets. Come up and say hello and give a brother a high five. Some of the proceeds go back to the Global Climbing Initiative to get us back to Malawi, Africa to do more mentorship. And that is what this episode is all about. Hope you enjoy. Check it out. Friends and enemies, lovers and haters, welcome to Sends and Suffers podcast. I am your host, Mario Stanley. If you haven't already, please follow, like, and subscribe to Sends and Suffers podcast. Every bit counts, and we would love to hear from you, so take a moment to leave a comment. These go a long way and help others know what they're getting into and how good this show is. If this is one of your favorite podcasts, consider becoming a Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you are investing in Sends and Suffers podcast, and it's like buying your boy a taco, hanging out, and getting to know the good that is coming your way. Monthly recaps, early show releases, and all the other cool things that we do. Thank you so much for listening to Sends and Suffers podcasts. Organic Climbing is the official sponsor of Sends and Suffers podcast, and if you didn't know, now you know. I have been using this company's products since before my podcast, since I basically started rock climbing. They're cool, they're rad, they're customizable. You can get bouldering pads, chalk buckets, backpacks. They've got shoes. They've got almost anything you can conceive to make you look fly, to make you functional at the crag. Check out Organic Climbing. Put in Sends and Suffers at your purchase. It helps this podcast out. And really support someone who has been supporting the conception of climbing communities since the beginning. Josh and everyone at Organic is all about making sure communities grow. And that is a huge thing coming from a small company that moves massive mountains. So check out Organic Climbing. Tell them I sent you. Let's get into this episode. Paula Horwitz is my guest today. She is the director of the CWA, the Climbing Wall Association. So most of you listening to this most likely climb in an indoor climbing gym. The CWA is the back office and has been building structure for climbing gyms for quite a while. Everything from public policy to route setting to youth programs, all these discussions of the industry happen. So your favorite place you like to pull on, this place makes these things happen. Enjoy. Paula, how are you today?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for coming into my little lounge here and hanging out.
Yeah, it's great.
Also, thank you for letting me create this lounge.
Of course. No, this is perfect. It's the perfect place to have you. And we're glad that you're here at the summit. I love it.
Beautiful. So I am not going to assume that all the listeners know who you are because in my mind, the rest of the consumer side of the world, this is like the cloak and daggers side of the climbing industry. Like they have no idea. So who are you? Where are you from? What is your connection to the outdoors? And then I'll ask the rest of the questions later.
Perfect. So Paula Horwitz, where do I begin? I joined the Climbing Wall Association just over 2 years ago as the executive director. It was sort of a serendipitous joining of this team. I am I'm getting my PhD right now in business management, and we had this project to do, and it was going out, researching organizations, businesses, and kind of understanding how they are attracting talent, how they are in this industry or not this industry necessarily, but in this market where we've got young generations coming in, they're coming through a pandemic. How are businesses adjusting to this new mindset? So going through researching different organizations, and I stumbled upon the Climbing Wall Association. I love membership, trade associations, not-for-profits. And there was just something that resonated with me in the job description. Not only is it connected to an industry that I'm passionate about, and I've been, just a climber in my own right for many, many years. But I said, hey, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, and went through the process. And the day that they offered me this position, my mind was blown. I'm very drawn to that passion lifestyle and building your message, building who you are, and being able to affect others in an industry that you're passionate about. My husband has done that for years, and I was always very jealous of him. And when I got this opportunity, I was like, oh, hey, we're on the same playing field now. So it's been great.
Awesome. What industry does he do this for?
So he was a professional snowboarder for many years.
Oh.
Yeah. And
is
then
a name that we all know?
He's a little bit older now, but he was one of the original members of the U.S. Snowboard team, first Olympic team. So,
okay.
Yeah, great guy. But after he retired, oddly enough, he said to his coach one day, when that kid starts coming up in competition and beats me, I'm going to retire. That kid was Shaun White, so it didn't take long. But yeah, he's just built his life off of passion and, in the snowboard and snow industry for many years, and now in the motorcycle industry, which is our other passion. And he wakes up every day excited for the day. There's not a moment that you see him saying, oh, I have to go to work and I have to deal with these things. And that was missing for me for many years. And so I found this, and every day I get to be a part of the climbing industry. I get to meet incredible people that are making a difference in this industry, not just for your climber, but for the businesses and for the growth of something, a sport that can change people's lives. So I'm just thrilled. It's awesome. You guys
sound like a power couple.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
He's a pretty cool guy.
I'm into this. Oh man. So, okay. So, and how long have you been rock climbing for?
Oh gosh. Very first time I was on and it was a manufactured wall, but it was outdoors. I was a junior in high school, so late 90s.
Okay.
Went through high school, college, just actually climbing around the Pennsylvania area. I grew up in Erie, McConnell's Mills, some great climbs here in the area. And then I moved out to Colorado after college. So spending time out there. My very first indoor gym was an old theater that had been converted back when they had, the rubber tire for the flooring and such. So it's come a long way since then.
Yeah, thank God. I remember the very first gym I ever truly worked in, we didn't have rubber floors, thanks God, but we had this like fake foam flooring.
Yeah.
And it was like maybe, I want to say about this thick.
Yeah.
And then we used to drag around a sauna drag mats around the whole gym. And I'll admit, like my best climbing partners and friendships I've made were all during that time frame because that's when people still had to spot each other very heavily in a climbing gym.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I had to like anchor into the floor to belay anyone because I'm not a very big person, and it just didn't have, the sophistication that we have these days. And so I'm clipping into things on the floor to make sure that no one goes flying from a top rope. And it was, how things have changed, it's far better.
Oh, yeah.
Far better.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. The kids that I coach, sometimes I look at them, I'm like, you have no idea how good you have it.
Right.
Like you have absolutely no clue. It was, I'm not going to say indoors climbing and outdoor climbing had the same risk of injury or anything like that, but they were close back in the day. They were definitely close.
Absolutely.
So can you describe the CWA to just to the everyday climber? Like, what is its function? How does it work? And I think maybe a bigger question is how does the CWA continue to make your everyday climbers' indoor experience better and their local gym? Awesome
question. So first half of that, who is the Climbing Wall Association? So membership organization that is really focused on finding or creating structure, growth, professionalism for the indoor climbing professionals. So primarily we are working with owners, operators, managers, route setters, coaches in the indoor space. We work to create certifications and standards, resources, professional development opportunities. The summit every year, which obviously, thank you for being here.
I'm excited.
The CWA Summit is an opportunity to bring our vendors face to face with their consumers, the gym owners, making those connections, understanding the new technology in the industry, creating those networking opportunities, both for gym owners to share ideas and then, of course, to do business with the vendors that are impacting as well. We work really, really hard to find place for everyone that has a role in the operational side of indoor climbing. So we don't just say, hey, we're going to focus only on the gym managers and the owners. We recognize that there's a whole team, often a family, that are working day in and day out to bring an incredible experience to the climbers in their community. And so we want to offer the support and the growth for the front staff, the front desk, customer service, how to handle challenging situations, how to respond if something were, trip and fall even in this space. So we want to kind of just create those good business practices. We want to be an advocate, and we are a voice and an advocate for the industry through the development of standards and industry practices. We also work to support regulatory issues in the states, supporting those that may be coming up against something with building inspection, those types of things, because our industry is so unique. And those that are sitting in the seats and writing legislation don't know and are not informed enough to make decisions necessarily. So we help those conversations, and we help provide the data that's necessary to protect our gyms and what they're doing every day. And a big part of that we are working on is this idea of really collaborating. So how can we bring different gym models together to share what they're doing to build community with their climbers, to build their programming. So we're building the kids that are coming in. How are we connecting with them? Is there an opportunity to look at your population around your gym and say, hey, we've got some underserved kids here, and climbing changed my life. Climbing has changed everyone that gets into climbing can say it's impacted them.
Oh, it fundamentally changes you at your core.
Exactly. Yeah. And to be able to support the gyms that have that opportunity, I go to sleep every night just feeling so good about what this team does and what we're able to do to support. And at the end of the day, that is what the Climbing Wall Association is. We are here to serve this industry. We're membership driven. So we want to build the value. We want to build the resources. We want to do what our members need. So we listen. We want the feedback, and we try to create those programs that they're looking for.
Is there any unique program, or any unique might be a broad stroking word in this in such a niche that this is, but is there any program that's come up in the years that kind of like caught your attention? Like, oh, wow, I didn't realize we needed to do that, or something that just kind of stood out to you over the years? Yeah.
This May 2023 is the 20-year anniversary of the official forming of the Climbing Wall Association. And prior to that, we were sort of umbrellaed under a few different organizations. But the catalyst for that was the need to have an insurance program for the indoor climbing facilities that could understand the inherent risk pieces of climbing, understand that we're not amusement parks, right? There's a very specific way to approach this industry as a sport. And so that was the driving force of creating the Climbing Wall Association. Needed to band together and get an insurance provider, an insurance pool that would create the stability and protect this industry. So that's where this started from. And, it's an honor to be able to still connect with those individuals and have them a part of the industry to this day. But from there, recognized that, in an industry that compared to most is still very, very young, there's a need to have some consistency and some standardization to, again, protect the industry. If we've got one gym doing it over here one way and another completely different way, and then something does happen, how do we say one way was right and the other facility did something wrong? So creating a baseline of, hey, this is kind of the minimum that's going to allow us to continue to keep our doors open, allow us to continue to serve the communities that we are situated in, and keep our businesses, keep our doors open. So developing best practices and industry standards, that has been huge, of course. And then, we're launching this community hub.
Yeah, you mentioned that yesterday after the keynote speaker.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a brainchild for a while, and so lucky to have the team on the Climbing Wall Association that we have. Just phenomenal, passionate individuals that said, we're bringing this to fruition. And so this community hub actually serves two purposes. The first is a platform, an online platform that was designed specifically for this industry. We designed it in-house.
Okay.
We took into consideration all of the players, from your route setters to your owners to your front desk staff, you name it. And we've created a space where you can go in and jump into various forums. We have some conversation starters in there, but really we want this to be a living organism that is taken on by our members. Communicate, share ideas. I've got this problem. I don't know how to deal with this. Or, hey, I ran this incredible program. I want to share it with you guys. It really, gave us an opportunity to connect with our LCO or whatever it might be. Have a place to share those things. Have a place to ask questions, and just continue that collaborative connections, building that we've seen this whole week here at our annual summit. So that's the first side of it. And then once people are really engaged in that, again, from our service side of it, we want to be in there just saying, hey, this is a hot topic right now. Okay. It's our job to help. It's our job to find the resources, to find the experts, to help find a solution. Is that a webinar? Is that working with the insurance partner that we have? Is it working with other organizations in the climbing industry as a whole, so that we can help our members get what they need? What are they looking for? So that's how the CWA will not only kind of host this platform, this hub, but also remain engaged so that we can be constantly preparing, be both responsive and proactive in terms of meeting the needs of this ever changing and rapidly growing industry.
Yeah, the landscape has changed, and I can only imagine, like we just talked about, from the days of drag mats all the way to commercial floors, all the way to, I don't know if we have them here in the United States, but gyms that have virtually deep water soloing ball pits underneath them. It's funny, and it's interesting that I forgot that, gyms were once classified as amusement parks. Yeah. And because I remember this, because one of the very first early gyms I ever worked in was Dallas Rocks, way back in the day. And I remember talking to the owner, and he's like, yeah, we're classified as an amusement park. And I remember looking around, I'm like, there's nothing amusing about this.
No, there's no Ferris wheel whipping around in here.
No. And so I think that's a big thing that the general public does not know. Exactly. Because personally, I've had people who don't know anything about rock climbing. They're like, oh yeah, so you work at a main event. Yes. Yeah. And I'm like, not at all. No. I can't even give you a not quite. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, I could give you a not quite. Right. But right now, not at all. Yeah. Yeah. And to that point, there's actually still many states that loosely have
climbing included in the amusement park oversight, which is one of the regulatory and legislative pieces that we keep a close eye on. And when our member gyms reach out and say, hey, we've got something going on right now, that's where we're able to kind of bring in this data, and we're able to really help educate those that are sitting in those seats to create that clear distinction. There's a similarity across many of the states when it comes to defining things under that amusement umbrella is having staff situated. You go to the amusement park and you hop on a roller coaster. You're not buckling yourself in. You might, but they're coming around and they're checking, and they stand there and they're letting you in, they're letting you out. Keep your hands and arms inside the ride at all times. That's not what this sport is.
No, absolutely not.
It's independent. It is very community based, but, there's a method, there's intentional thought to walking up to the wall, having your harness on, tying in, looking at your route. And that is such a core element of the mental, emotional connection that climbers have with their climb, with the route that they're looking at, indoor wall or outdoor. As you said, there's nothing amusing about that. It is fun and it is thrilling in all the ways that amusement is, but there is something much deeper to this. Yeah, exactly.
Anyone, there are so many memes, memes about rock climbing, and it's like mom thinks his child is on drugs because all he talks about is how he can't do V4.
Yeah.
And it's like there's all these things, and I think climbing is just such a personal thing.
Right.
And if you do it, and there are a few sports that I think that have the uniqueness of climbing. Like one for me is like whitewater rafting or paddling. Like that sport is unique in its way. It's like when you are on it, it's you in your own lane. When you're on the wall, it's you in your own lane.
Yep.
And I think once you experience that, that is why people just all of a sudden dive head first, fall in love with climbing gyms. And if it's something where they have to drive 45 an hour, 2 hours away, they'll do. And I think that kind of segues into the next part of the amount of potential new gym owners here is pretty staggering.
Yes.
And so I'm just curious, is this something you keep in track of? Do you have more new gym owners that show up? Do you have more existing gym owners that show up? There's roughly around 600 plus gyms in the United States?
Oh, yeah, more than that. To your question, they are popping up rapidly.
Yeah,
and
they're growing like weeds.
Yeah, and it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And it really speaks for... this isn't just a fad, right?
No. This is a $3 billion.
Exactly.
Once you reach B's, you've gone beyond fad.
Exactly. There's a significant investment to getting into this business, and sure, you're getting a lot out of it too. Absolutely, but it's not. Kind of your McDonald's franchise model where they can just kind of pop up everywhere. It doesn't work that way. No. So to see the growth in this industry is unbelievable. And that's really what brings us back to those standards and best practices. Because when you have this rapid growth and you have a lot of new players coming into the field, that can really start to deteriorate those risk management practices. And you start to get a lens, right? You're starting to get spotlighted and you can start to run into some challenges. And we have not experienced that yet. And I think a lot of that does come from the fact that there's not only the financial investment of getting into this business, but there's that passion investment as well. And that is still what is dominating those that are coming in. At our show this year, we definitely have a small population of prospective owners, those that are preparing to open their gym, or those that are just in the infantile, I want to do this. How do I do it? So what that speaks to, for me at least, in terms of analyzing who's here and the demographics of that, is that this industry recognizes the importance of the continued networking and collaboration and just maintaining those relationships, because that's what this industry started on. It was a couple of guys that said, I want a place to just go climb with my buddies all the time. And I don't have to set up the ropes every time. And I just want to, talk shop and run some routes. So let's build a wall. Well, let's just have everyone come over. Let's do it. That still kind of continues through. When you see everyone get together here, it's like, oh my gosh, I saw you got this expansion, or, hey, I picked your brain on this last year and I've been testing it a little bit. Can we talk more about it? And that's what's going to continue in this industry for sure. But to have those.
Take your time.
I just inhaled dust.
Don't worry, that giant horsefly was trying to eat me earlier. Hold on one second. While we have a quick little pause, I want to
perfect
one little thing with you. A little bit more room here.
I just inhaled dust. You're gonna have to edit this all out.
Oh, I do.
Oh, good, because I'm just dying over here. Okay,
all right,
we're good.
Boom.
Yeah, I'll keep this in my hand for a second.
Yeah. Put it on the table. That's what the table's there.
No, I don't
for.
want Starbucks in your video.
Hold on.
I don't support that. We're good.
I was about to say I might have a sticker I can slap on.
Dude, we're good. I forget what I was saying.
Two guys like this industry started because people just wanted to place the rock climb and not having to always go outside, set up a rope. They didn't want to have an epic every day.
Exactly.
And then I think what we were segueing into more is new gym owners coming into this, because that's the staggering amount of new people and wanting new information.
Yeah.
Getting into this. Now, do you find that hold on, I'm trying to think about how to say this. Do majority of gym owners come to this event? Once again, the staggering amount of new people that I find here wanting to open a gym is high. I've been talking about two aspects of myself being here is obviously my podcast and helping Karima with the adaptive climbing group. But then also I've been youth coaching for over 20 years.
Yep.
And I've managed a program of 200 kids, a 5-tier level program.
That's amazing.
And I love it. Thank you. And then, some people have talked to me about doing some consulting work and some things like that, which I'm happy to do. But a lot of these are new gyms and some of them are smaller gyms that are existing.
Yeah.
My question is do you find that majority of gyms in America come to this event? And if that is a yes, that's amazing. And do you believe that's because of the classes and things like that? If that's not quite yet, then why do you think not everyone is just swarming to this event? Because, it's not as big as OR.
No, definitely not.
And it's not, and I don't think it's supposed to be.
No.
Or Big Gear Show, thank God.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is really unique. And I think it's something that a lot of the community in the industry can be a part of.
Absolutely.
So the question is, this is a long rant. So the question simply is do most of the gyms in America come to this event? So
I'm going to answer that two ways. We have a great percentage that are members of the CWA. Not everyone, of course, we would love to have every gym, be a member of the CWA. But they referenced it a little bit yesterday in the chat before the keynote, before Karima joined us, and was talking about in the times when this industry was just getting off the ground, there was a lot of protecting, a lot of, I don't want you coming into my space. This is my deal. This is, my crag. Yeah, absolutely. And there's always a little bit of that, not in, a negative way, but I do think that there is still a little bit of that protecting my brand, and there's nothing wrong with that. When we look at the demographics of who is coming to this event each year, the highest percentage we see are gym owners and really gym managers and senior staff. So the owners are recognizing that this is an event where their managers, their senior staff, their daily decision makers that influence the strategic direction of their organization can come and they can get the networking. They can get these sessions and the education and the professional development. They can have the right conversations with the vendors in the expo space, and they can build those relationships. Next largest is the owners. And when you think about that breakdown, you've got, a mom and a pop or a small group that are the owners. And then as you go through the organizational structure, you have more managers than you do owners. Mm-hmm. So it's the right balance to see. We have a really good number of route setters this year that joined us, higher than what we've seen in the past in terms of coaches and programmers, developing the programs, whether it's youth or competition. So that's been great to see. What that tells us is that we are getting the message out that the CWA recognizes this isn't just about the highest decision makers, not just about the owners, but our route setters they're professionals. Coaches are professionals. We've got our programmers that are doing amazing things to build community in their gyms, to serve kids all the way through adults, the adaptive climbing programs, the inclusivity programs, you name it. And so they're coming here recognizing that this is where they can find others that are as passionate about it, sharing those same ideas. Mm-hmm. And I think as this industry grows so rapidly and we have these gyms popping up left and right, the initial focus is opening the doors, getting the systems running, getting the operations moving.
Yep.
And sometimes you have to have a little stumble. And then you say, here's this group out here. Here's this industry that I'm a part of and I can go contribute to and also gain from. And so we recognize that there's the larger number of new gyms are in that category.
Yeah.
But there are a number that, reach out as prospective owners. And, we've got mentioned industry standards, best practices, but we also do, research. It was annual for a little while. Of course, COVID took a little hit on that. But we're getting trends in the industry, and sharing that kind of data is so helpful to those that are looking to open a gym, whether it is to understand, market research, where should I go with my model? What's the best community that I want to be a part of? All the way through to understanding how to frame the finance side of that to investors or, private equity, whatever it might be, getting a loan, whatever.
Yeah.
But having those resources available as well. So it's about creating a member value story that meets each unique gym owners, managers, or prospective owners, key stakeholder in the industry, making sure that they understand that the CWA can provide that for them.
So that's awesome. And I want to trend towards like your route setters and your coaches.
Yeah.
And I think it's also too, one thing that people don't realize is how much educational classes, clinics, and training and other things that are made available here too. I feel like route setting is like the sexy side of the industry. That's why I can see it exploding in a lot of people because, I route set for many years before I route set and coach for many years. Started coaching first, then started route setting. And then I think I route set for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And then I stuck with coaching because,
this is where your little heart is.
Yeah, it's definitely, being blatantly honest, it's definitely where my heart was. And then it was a nicer paycheck.
Oh, so, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think like I can definitely see in that side because route setting is it's always, I think it's commercial route setting. And I believe that has definitely been something that is needed a lot of help because it's definitely, it's wildly different wherever you go.
Yeah.
And I think also that does cater to the area. Like you come to Texas, bouldering tends to be a little stout.
Sure.
Climbing in the Northeast, the rope climbing tends to be a little stout. And I think those characteristics definitely need to stay in my personal opinion. But I do think it is wildly different when you have people, route setters who are like, I set art. And I'm like, this is a commercial route.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, this is not a competition where you're not like, I get that you want to be Picasso of climbing, but like, it's not today. And so I'm excited that that's a big thing. What is the overall attendance from coaches? Because this is obviously me being a coach of 20 years. This is a side of the industry that I'm very passionate about and extremely opinionated on. And so it's like, I know for me, like the biggest problem that I see, and I don't know if this is being addressed in that. I haven't heard about it, but like career coaches is not a thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think I'm one of the few in the country at my level, because I focus, especially like my heart and soul exist in recreational level feeder teams.
Yeah.
I like being a recruiter for elite level teams. Can I coach an elite level team? Absolutely. But they don't need my help.
Sure. Yeah.
But the kids who are being dropped off and their parents are like, this is something you're going to do because we need to get you out of the house.
Right.
They don't want to be there. And the problem that I find is, and then this is kind of a little bit of a rant, but I also just kind of like want to put it out there in the ethos. The problem that I find is, you don't have a lot of career level coaches right now, unless they're at that elite level. So all the other coaches down below at my level are usually teenagers or people who are for prior to coaching, and they don't care that the kid who doesn't want to be there because they're like, well, I only want to coach the kid that wants to be here. Right. And so we're having this massive disconnect. And, this whole topic is another podcast in itself. So I want to be very clear.
Book my calendar.
we can talk about it before. Later. But like, is that an aspect of youth programming and coaching that the CWA has seen that is, in my opinion, is suffering in a big way? Because everybody cares about who gets on podium in the next Olympics. Like everybody cares about France and LA, and everybody else and all the rest of the kids are on the wayside, which drives me nuts.
Of course. I can look at this in two ways. Prior to joining the CWA and a few other roles that I held in the nonprofit, I was an educator. I taught middle school for 13
exactly
years.
What I mean.
I do. So I know exactly what you're talking about. You've got the kid that's super easy to teach. They do their homework every day. They show up, they're excited, they're studying. You're like, if only everyone could be like this. They're the easiest kids in the world. Yeah. My passion was to connect with those kids that were, head down, challenging, not because they weren't bright, not because they weren't capable, but they were lacking their own self-confidence. They didn't know who they were. They didn't know how to be confident in this space. And, I have two beautiful daughters, amazing daughters. I'm very proud of them. One's in college, the other's getting close to finishing up high school. And as an educator and as a mom, you look at children and you're like, I produced these two. They could not be more staggeringly different, right? And I bring that up because there's something so special, so unique and amazing about each of them. Same as the case when you get 10, 15 kids in at one time, all 200 of your kids, you can pick out something amazing about each of them.
Absolutely.
What I think from the business side of things that should be talked about at least is we still have the vast number of gyms are still smaller gyms, independently owned. And so the ability to generate the staffing to support that, those programs is challenging.
It is. I agree. I definitely agree.
So I think that it is something the CWA recognizes, and it's one of the catalyst points that we can address in this community hub is how are we sharing ideas with those that are at this elite level now? How are we continuing to support your coaching? With when I say elite, I mean you, with your years of experience and the ability you have to reach so many different individuals, kids. And how do we create a program that our gyms can take to train up those teenagers that come in and have an interest and show them that there is a career path here? And it's something we've been talking about with route setting. There's, I feel like route setting is just kind of a little bit further down the line from coaches in terms of moving their work towards that. This is a career. I can do this as a profession. Yeah. And coaching is coming along that line just a little bit behind. Not that it is any less, but just pick up in the process a little bit behind that. The number of colleges and universities that have started to build out their recreation program degrees, and most of them fall under the outdoor rec programs, right? But that's transferable, obviously, to the indoor space. Those career paths have started to blow up in the college and university space. And then you look at your, like your 2-year colleges, the Colorado Mountain School, things like that have had these programs. Their numbers, their enrollments have started to increase exponentially along with the growth of some of the industries such as ours. So I think that we're seeing the foundation be built for coaching to get to where you want it to be, where you see its potential to be, having gone through kind of like you dug the path for it, right? You trudged through that and you had to put the time and effort in to navigate a path that wasn't there. You created that, and it's coming. It's coming. It definitely is. I think that there's a lot that kind of has to fall into line almost all at the same time.
I agree.
But with the community hub through the CWA, not only do we have that community side of it, but we also have this training and certification side of this platform. And so we have both blended and fully online opportunities to get, climbing wall instructor certified. We're building out route setting. We're building out some coaching training. And it might not be at first a comprehensive coaching training program, but to begin to put together pieces that prepare individuals to work with someone like you as a mentor, right? Because they come in with a little bit of a foundation. They come in with some understanding of body movement, of how to handle 15 kids, how to, talk to parents, how to give good feedback, how to be engaging, how to understand the movement of kids on the wall versus teenagers versus adults, and adaptive, and girls versus boys, women versus men, and begin to kind of lay those foundational pieces for them. You need that to be a good coach. You need to be able to read people as much as you can talk techniques, right, or technicalities. Yeah,
I think I definitely agree with you. And, I think like that emphasis on the coach and getting them moving forward, I think has the conversation also been brought up with like understanding like the policies of the gym? Because I think that's like, in my opinion, I think that's honestly the biggest hurdle that I've talked to. Because like in talking about doing some consulting with the gym owners here, the number one thing, the first question I get is all the time is like, well, so when we start our comp team, and I'm like, stop, stop. Like, if you're going to open a gym, my suggestion is like, don't even worry about starting a comp team for 5 years. Right. And they look at me like I shot their dog. And it's just, and I get it. Like you have an ROI and a bottom line that you got to get to that. But like when we look at lifetime value of a customer, I started coaching kids at the age of 3. They graduated at the age of 19. Right. You think of like, let's just say the littlest program is $50 a month. The most expensive program is $200 a month. Right. And then you have a couple variations in between. If you do the math between shoes, between gears, between trips, between competitions, between friends, birthday parties, like the dollar amount adds up. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest hurdles is, not only like, I think coaches, so when I'm hiring a coach, I always say this, like, I can teach you to be a great coach. That's not the hard part. The hard part is making you care. The hard part is showing that the kids and you care. Yeah. The hard part, I think, like right now, and this is a conversation that I think needs to happen, and I don't know if it's already happening, but I think one of the hardest part is like showing gyms that like reallocating your resources to understanding that you're programming for these programs and these kids that is not glorified babysitting. It's not this. Right. And understanding that like, it's like, it's like you have children. I mean, like for the first 5 years, you're just trying to make sure they don't kill themselves. Right. It's just like, don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. Stay away from that. That's hot. That will electrocute you. That will eat you. Yeah. And I think like in my mind, I think that's one of the biggest hurdles that we're having, because once again, like, people put millions into these facilities. Like, I think what the average is, like, I was talking to someone and they were ruffling like the average gym is going to be around like over almost just $2 million. Yeah. Just to be able to get into it. Yep. And so there's this mindset that like, I think programming is always the after side. Like, it's like this is what I always say with people. People treat programming and youth programs like they think about building the fitness center. Like let's build the walls, let's build this. Oh, we totally forgot about building where to people for just to hang out.
Right.
We need more hang space than wall space. Oh, wait a minute. Well, we'll just build like a place with a bunch of dumbbells. And like, no, like there are gyms where I know people literally just have a membership to the climbing gym because they're like, it's the best deal in town. I get yoga, fitness, and then I guess I'll learn how to rock climb, and I think that's it. And I think those things are in the same category. And I understand this is a little bit of a rant for me, and I'm just kind of speaking my piece as a coach and someone who's traveled around. And, I deliberately ask to like, if I can shadow youth programs, I deliberately show up when their youth programs are running, and I watch and I watch and I like to see how people engage with athletes. And sometimes I'm like really happy. And a lot of times, sadly to say more than not, I'm pretty heartbroken in like what I see. Cause and I have to like really reel myself back.
Sure.
And I understand mom and pop gyms, like you guys are making it happen. And some big chain gyms, I'm kind of like you are like a $17 million company. Like what's going on here? But I think that's like, I guess as an ass, like my question, if that part of the conversation is not happening, I think that's putting the cart before the horse.
So, I think it's a challenging question for me to answer specifically. And I say that because, as you mentioned, there's various business models, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a variety, like there are spices in a kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's opportunity in all of them. I think our bigger multi-locations, they're doing something right.
Oh, absolutely.
And it is the right flavor for the right clientele. And I love it. I think more power to it. Let's support them. We've got our smaller independent mom and pop, and they've got their flavor and they're meeting their clientele and their consumers. And is there opportunity for growth on both sides of that pendulum swing? Of course. Yeah. And I think programming and coaching is, a lot of people talk about the product of their gym, right? And it's the walls and the routes. And I think that's where our route setters have their gift that they bring in and their skill set. And then we have their programs and we have their coaching and competitions. And that's another piece of their brand and another product that they have to offer their community. And it is part of the growth, and it's part of the, I don't necessarily want to say like maturity, but I do think that it is just finding the right time, as you said, for that business model to put it in. And, I defer to you in terms of the consulting side of it. Does it come at the time they open their doors, or is it coming 5 years down the road? I think you hit the nail on the head where you said it's about understanding what their business practices are in that moment. And some of them may be poised to do that sooner than others. I wouldn't know that information, you know?
I would say, right, the moment the doors open, it's like I'm talking to a gym right now. I don't think I can really give their name out right now, but
sure, yeah.
They're talking to me about programming, and I was very clearly like, you can design the gym around all the programming and the features that you want to have, or you can design the gym and then try and squeeze the programming in.
Right, yeah.
And I think for the sake of your community and your members and creating like this cohesive environment, I think the programming has to happen right away. And this is why, like I say, people, I think, put the cart before the horse. And when you do this, like, it's funny. This is so true. And I think this is a very true statement. You say like the product is the walls. And I think people are product. That's why they both begin with P.
Oh.
People are products. And at the end of the day, it's like without the people in the gym, it doesn't matter. Without the legacy of the kids growing up and the families that happens. I mean, you got to think about it. Like a kid grows up in an entire gym. The odds of most parents becoming climbers, like I cannot tell you how many parents have become climbers because they're like, well, I'm here all day.
Right.
Like, what am I going to do?
Connect with my kid,
Yeah. And like, there are parents in our gym, like I heard those parents have a book club and they read climbing books and then they go rock climb. And I'm like,
that's so cool. Yeah.
Like, this is cool. I mean, I wouldn't have thought it would have happened,
right.
And so I think that's like one of the things that like kind of touches my heart, like getting a little emotional here, not trying to, but like, I think I agree. Like the product for climbers is the routes on the wall.
Yeah.
But we as climbing gyms are in the business of creating rock climbers. And so our product is people. Yeah. And I think this is a big conversation that and I'm going to be very clear. I do not have the answers for this. This is just a conversation that I want to spark.
Sure.
And I'm hoping to just throw a little kindle into the fire and hope it grows. And I would love other people to jump into this conversation. And I'd love to see this conversation happen. I don't think there's an answer quite yet, but I do think the secret to making the mole good is in the mom and pop gyms. I think honestly, because that's your small town America, your farmers markets, you're that's where communities really kind of hub. You think about community centers in small towns.
Exactly.
They are the epicenter.
Yep.
That's where, there's these little towns in Texas, and I was just visiting one, and their community center is where people have weddings, birthdays.
Absolutely.
It's where the prom is held. It's also where farmers market is held. Yep. It is literally the heart and soul of the community. And they build basketball courts next to it, volleyball courts next to it. And in my mind, I'm in Texas, it's 108 all year, so hot. And so I'm how cool would it be if we could figure out how to have this kind of a set? And in my personal heart, this is what I want to spearhead into the world. I want to see figuring out how to create programming that is just as good as reasons why people take their kids to the YMCA or community centers. And
and I think it's a safe statement to say that is, a common thought throughout this industry that the programming can and should be contributing to the community in that way. And I think a lot of gym owners and managers feel that also. I love that you say you want to kind of spark the conversation and you want to put it out there, because that's exactly what we're hoping for with the community hub, is giving a place for you and others to drop this out there and say, hey guys, I've been mulling this over. I'm losing some sleep over it. Let's talk about this. Let's get creative with our problem solving. How can we shift the narrative, or how do we build the narrative? Whatever that need is, right? Here's a place that we can do that. I certainly don't have the answers. The CWA is here specifically to support and serve all niches within this niche industry, so highly respectful of all the different business models and want to help them grow, help them shift with the dynamic needs, and help them find the stability as well. And part of that is programming. Part of that is route setting. Part of that is coaching. Part of that is HR, strategic planning, risk management, insurance. So there's so many aspects that go into it. And that's where, having voices such as yours and others that are so passionate about programming can have a place to go, start the conversation, and CWA can support that. Hey, we've been picking up on this. Let's work together to build some resources. Let's work together to get this in front of more gyms that can benefit from this. So that's kind of where I see the CWA being able to support the industry and these, thoughts of need, growth, opportunity that people such as yourself are seeing.
Yeah. I would like to take a little bit of a shift, because I know you are managing this behemoth of a monster along with your team.
Thank you.
But I would like to take a kind of shift towards you. So outside of, it's obvious that this brings you a ton of joy.
Absolutely.
And this brings you a ton of fulfillment.
Yes.
But, and you are a climber. Is there anything else that you're doing in your, if you have spare time, that you're seeking trips, adventures, things like that you're excited on? Because I think it's very important that it's very important, no matter how big the organization, no matter how big the company, the nonprofit, it's very important to know that it's people running it. And it's very important to that. It's it's one of the things that I don't post a ton on social media about about my podcast and about my thing. But then when I post about me cooking, that goes wildfire. And everyone's just oh my God, you're making this. I'm like, why do you even care?
Yeah.
And then my friend pointed out, he was like, people care about people.
Yeah.
Not so much what you do. They like your stories.
Yeah.
But they want to know who are you? Who are you? What are you doing? That's it. And so, I know you're a mom.
I am. Yep.
I know you're, hold on one second.
Yeah.
I just want to wait for this thing to pass by. That squeaky wheel.
I know.
So I know you're a mom,
Yeah.
you're a climber, you're a power couple with you and your husband.
Yeah.
Apparently both of you guys are motorcycle daredevils.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say daredevils, but we do love our motorcycles. I have maybe a few too many.
You and my brother would get along. My brother buys motorcycles from across the country and rides them back home, fixes them up and resells them. And he has stories of like bikes breaking down on the road. And he's just like, and I'm like, what? You were stranded in the middle of nowhere on a bicycle, on a motorcycle? And he was like, well, yeah, I wasn't that bad. I'm like, at least in a car, you have shelter.
No.
And he was like, it's all the same. So his attitude is like me and climbing. But yeah, what's going on with you? Like, what can we support you and cheer you on that you have coming up?
Gosh. Well, definitely hit the nail on the head. Motorcycles, being on my bike is, it's where I feel most connected with myself. It's very much similar to what I feel on the wall. And I think for many in this industry, what they feel on the wall, I find it first on my motorcycle. It's just something that I think I have found myself through in a very unique way. So I love them. My husband actually proposed to me with a motorcycle. So it's, there's
no ring. Shows up with a motorcycle.
No.
Wow. That's a power move.
Yeah. He picked out a bike and I was like, oh yeah, we're doing this. Good choice, buddy. I'll take it. But yeah, it's motorcycles definitely looking forward to some trips on that. I have a couple bikes, and with my husband working in the motorcycle industry, he works at a fabulous shop that is a consignment shop in Denver. And so they get bikes in, I don't want to go through, selling this on my own or trading it in. So they take it in and sell it for them, just help with that process. So I get first eyes on every bike that comes in. And I'm like, yeah, put my name on that one. Put my name on that one. He said, Paula, we don't have enough room in the garage. I'll make room. But no, I love that. So I spend a lot of time on my bike. It's kind of where I go to clear my head and can't always get to the wall. I only have, a couple minutes here or there. So I'm definitely on my bike a lot. I am, as I mentioned, a very proud mom. So a lot of my time is just being there, supporting them. I'm the biggest cheerleader and a hard coach. But I've got a daughter that runs cross country and track at the collegiate level. So try to get to some races and support her.
Nice. What does she run? The track and field was my first love.
All right. Yeah, she's a distance runner. So she does long distance cross country, and then she'll run the 2 mile and 1 mile in track. And she's doing great. Couldn't be more proud. Academically, she's doing well also. And then my younger daughter is, she's that kid that you say, oh, when I grow up, I want to be like her. And I still say that to this day. She's just got this spirit about her. It's incredible. Wickedly intelligent. But she is the type that works with her hands. She's a problem solver. She wears her heart on her sleeve. Like she just has this kind of embodiment of like love and lust for life that just is magnetizing. But she's doing some really cool things as well. She'll graduate high school with her diploma, but also be licensed as an aviation mechanic. So she's put that together. She's doing some training for stunt doubling. So she's going to kind of move into the stunt double world and TV and movies. And like, she's just damn cool. Let's put it out there. Like, she's just a cool kid. And it just amazes me every day. So super proud of them. But back it off a little bit there. I mean, my kids are 19 and 17. Like,
oh, you have 2 full-time jobs plus what you actually do, because raising children is 2 full-time jobs.
They're almost out of the house. There's a void coming. It's approaching. And my husband and I have been talking about that. Like, what's next? Like, what are we going to do? We haven't figured it out yet. I don't know if we'll ever really figure it out. But we're looking for kind of like, what's that next transition for us in terms of our just kind of like family unit. So there's a lot of opportunity. We don't know what that means yet, but
okay.
I mean, I'm not going anywhere. As the beauty of you kind of look at everything that comes across, and yes, you have to kind of take the lessons that are learned, but you also want to say, okay, what positives can I take from this? And I think for me that through the COVID pandemic, it was an opportunity for a lot of self-reflection and a lot of time understanding, being comfortable by myself and comfortable just with my niche family, and how to look at risks differently. And so he and I are like, okay, it's just going to be the two of us, and we're young. We want to do things still. So what's to come? We don't know yet. We'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Paula, you're pretty cool.
Hey, thank you.
I mean, I'm a little smitten here.
Oh, sounds like we just need to go climb.
Yeah,
Let's go spend some time together. You can coach me.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm into
it.
What's your favorite what do you have a particular style? Is it like single pitch, multi-pitch, big wall, bouldering?
Yeah, I spend most of my time bouldering. Okay. It gives me an opportunity to focus in on like just improving my technique, right? And not exhausting myself. So push myself. Okay, let's think about it. Do I have the right placement? Am I adjusting properly? And in those shorter stints, and then I can kind of get that muscle memory, that repetition going. So I spend a lot of time bouldering, and I don't have to depend on anyone else to be there either. So
I think this is a motorcycle trait, because I took my brother bouldering, climbing, and he was like, what do you like to do? I like to do the ropes. It's long and that. And he gravitated immediately towards bouldering, which I'm going to, after this, I want to get the name of the shop, because I think my brother goes to Denver a lot. He would geek out. Like, I mean, like he has more bikes. Like I always look at it, I was like, Robbie, you don't have enough room in your garage. And he was just like, we'll just like move that. And then he was like, I'll just get a smaller car. And I'm like, I was like, do you understand what you're saying here? Like, you're going to get a smaller car to accommodate more bikes. You don't even ride them all. He was like, I ride them all within a year. Yeah. And I'm like,
we don't park cars in our garage. There's no room.
No, he stopped doing that. Yeah, he doesn't do that anymore.
We had 14 bikes at one time, between dirt bikes, some classic bikes, some bikes we were rebuilding, and then our daily riders. And yeah, I have more than my husband. It's a problem. Some people just collect the shoes or, baseball memorabilia. It's motorcycles.
Mine is cutlery. Yeah. I have more. My friends are always like, you don't even use that. You've cooked with it like twice. And I'm like, did you enjoy the food? And they were like, yes. And I'm like, then I think your opinions need to stay to yourself.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, definitely. We'll connect on it though, for sure.
Right. Well, I want to thank you for your time. Absolutely. I know you're running this event. It means a lot that we had an opportunity to talk.
I'm glad.
And I look forward to attending many more CWAs in the future. This is my first one.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I've always attended OR and other events, but like I kind of got burned out on them a little bit.
Yeah.
And and I just was like, I wanted to attend this. I was actually hoping to attend last year before I left out of the country.
Yeah.
But I'm psyched. So this is an amazing event. Awesome. And I think it's definitely, I would have to go as far as to say it is definitely the best on the commercial side, the best part of the climbing event I've been to in a long time.
Appreciate it. Well, we're going to stay connected. Yeah. Throughout the year, we've got the hub. We're just going to get together. We're going to hang.
Yeah.
And do it. Climb.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
And before we leave, would you like to give anybody a shout out, say hello, and where can people connect with you online? Like, do you have socials or anything like that?
I do. I've got, I should probably update my social tags, but, CWA is the best place to go just to connect with me directly. Mm-hmm. Email's right there. Easiest way for sure. And then we can go through social from there. But, reach out. I mean, the entire CWA team. And to be honest, you want to really talk shop. Let me get some of this team in here because they are phenomenal individuals. They're so passionate about what they do. Okay. So I'm so lucky to work with the team that I have. So
I would like to talk about maybe doing something like that for Portland.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got incredible people. So
all right.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Paula is an amazing individual, and I am so psyched that she is leading the team at the CWA of talented, brilliant, passionate individuals that care about climbing. We all enjoy the benefits of climbing. Most of us do it indoors and out. We tried our best to, but knowing that this team is helping the indoor climbing industry have a bright future gives me a lot of hope, considering I work in that industry. Please remember to follow, like, subscribe, and all these things. And remember, was Ascend even worth it if you didn't suffer?
Audio.